Hey yo fellow Neopets, I'm going to make a quick guide here on beating Faerie Caves 2, also known as Fyora's Quest. This is the story of Quaglor the Intrepid doing a quest for Fyora. I'm going to go over some quick tips and tricks before we actually get started with the guide itself. First off, with the controls, you can hold down one direction and dash. So for example, I'll hold down the right button and dash across. And you'll notice that the character will pause for a second before they actually come to a full run. That's important for when you're coming near one of these traps, for example. You'll see I'm going to dash to the right. And my character doesn't have any issue with doing that because I was more than one space out. But if I were one space out before I dash, the trap will go off because the character Quaglor pauses long enough for that to be an issue. So we're going to go ahead to the title screen here. One of the other tips I wanted to mention is that you could go to load user level and enter in a username for anybody who has created a level. I, for example, have with my username recreated the level many Hoardes, and you can use that to practice if you're having difficulty with some of the final levels in the game. I've actually created a few different of the last levels in the game. That's how I was able to get good enough at this game to be able to consistently beat it. One last thing I will mention is that I do break this video up into chapters, so if you're already partially through the game, you can go ahead and skip ahead to a later part in the video, but I do a few levels differently than a lot of the other guides will. I do things differently from Jelly Neo's guide or the Daily Neopets guide. If you're having issue with getting to the end of the game, losing lives. I will also be using my mouse pointer as a guide to explain where we're going. Another reason I really didn't like the written guides is that it's along the lines of like, take 3 steps to the left, go 4 steps down. I find that less informative than just telling you what we're going for. So first thing we're going for is this torch up in the top right corner. We'll just walk on over there. And while we're up here, we're actually going to go ahead and push this boulder down onto the pad. And then we're going to go ahead and grab this torch on the left and use it to ignite this dynamite. Now you have a short pause before the dynamite goes off, enough time to get out of the way, because if you're standing within one block next to it or diagonal from it, it will blow you up. The green dynamite will ignite nearby objects, so you want to make sure to grab all those gems before it blows up. The red dynamite will only damage the player character, so you won't have that issue blowing up the red dynamite, damaging items nearby. Once you ignite the red dynamite, I like to just go ahead and grab the gems from beneath it while you're waiting for it to explode. I tend to try to do other things while waiting for dynamite to explode. That's another reason why I feel like this way of playing is a little faster. And once you've grabbed all of the remaining treasures that are just hanging out on the board, you can go ahead and make your way to the exit, which is this brown door. On this next level, we're going to quickly circle around and grab this gem and grab this purple key. Now, these objects look almost identical, but the ones that are more gritty are on-solid objects, is the name they use in the game. So once we have the purple key, we can go ahead and push this boulder onto the pad, because we're not going to need to go in there anymore, and then make our way to the bottom here. You want to go ahead and wait until all those blow up before you go across to grab this torch, because the character actually dashes faster than the TNT or the dynamite explodes. And you don't want to race to the end and wind up blowing yourself up. You can go ahead and take that torch to light this last dynamite, and then grab the remaining gems, and then we're going to have to circle all the way back around the left side of the map to get to the exit. On this next level, the first thing we're going for is this torch and key over on the left-hand side. And then once we have those, we're going to come up here go through this top trap to go grab this key. And then once you grab that key, you're going to want to make sure to get out of the way of the exploding dynamite. And then we're going to go grab these gems and that torch at the top. And then make sure to light this dynamite before going to grab the purple key. Oh, I did it too slow. I'm going to do this over and fast forward. Okay, now that I fixed my mistake, I'll go ahead and grab the purple key, and that will let us leave the level. Now for this level, what we first want to do is go to this green gem on the far right side, and then go ahead and grab all the other gems along the route, but we'll stop once we get to the final gem and push this boulder over. You need to clear out these 4 spongy looking blocks, and then come back around and push it over the edge. The next thing we're going to go for is grabbing this torch and then lighting this dynamite. And make sure to step back before it goes off. Next thing we're going to do is go grab this purple key over here. And we're going to do that by just dashing across. I like this method a lot because it avoids doing any zigzags, which I think just make it unnecessarily complicated. Once you have that, you can start making your way down to the torch in the bottom right corner and grab that gem as you saw I did on your way there. Make sure to grab the gem before you grab the torch because you cannot get next to that green dynamite without igniting it. Once you dash across, it'll open up the final gate. You can make your way through. Our first step here is going to be to get this boulder to fall down onto this pad, and this purple key is going to hold it in place. In order to do that, we're going to circle all the way around it. And then that unlocks this room where we can get the key to the chest. And once you have the chest, we're going to go unlock it, make our way back up here to grab the purple key, and we can head out the door. The first goal of this level is going to be to grab these 3 keys on the left. And we're going to have to circle the entire board to get to them. And we're going to go ahead and stop and grab all the gems along our route. And then we need to grab this torch that is locked underneath these chests now that we have the 3 keys. And then we're going to make our way over to drop this boulder down here. We don't want the boulder to block off the pad here, which is why I leave that bottom one. But if you're being hasty or rushing, which I've done a few times, and you knock it over, it's not a big deal. You can just push it back out the way, and it's not a problem anymore. We'll make our way over these traps, grab the key, and then step back, and that's the end of the level. So the first thing we want to do is light this dynamite and step back from it. And then we're going to light this dynamite. We have to go grab the torch from over here. Make sure not to go down and ignite the dynamite at the bottom while we're doing it. And we're going to go ahead and climb up the left side. Alright, once we have this area open, we want to make sure to grab this gem first, and then this torch. We want to ignite this particular dynamite. And while it's lighting, we'll grab the gem to the left of it, and then this gem. There's no way to get this final gem at this point. Just head onto the door. Alright, this is one level that I do very differently from the other guides. This is actually another tip that I have not mentioned yet. We're going to get there in a second. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go straight down, ignite that dynamite, take a step back, and then we're going to go stand where this gem is, next to these traps. What you want to do is you want to hold down the control button on your keyboard if you're using Windows, or the command button if you're using a Macintosh. Press right 3 times, and then you can release the control or command button, and then press right 1 more time. That will leave these unlocked. That way, once you come over here and grab these gems, you're going to be able to pass through this path again later. It's going to be important to be able to do that. And then we're going to make our way all the way around the outside of the board to light this dynamite at the bottom. Alright, once we've done that, we're going to grab the key, make our way over to the left corner, and then stand to the left of this boulder. Now, if for whatever reason you weren't able to use the control or command button to keep these gates from closing, maybe it doesn't work on your computer for whatever reason, what you want to do is you want to push this boulder onto the pad and then immediately dash to the left and up. Because as soon as this boulder touches the pad, this gate's going to close, so you don't want to be standing on this side of it or inside of it once that happens. But since I was able to keep the gates down ahead of time, I'm just going to push this over, and we don't have that issue of not being able to make it through that gate. We're just going to go over this way instead, grab this last key. That'll allow us to grab both of these chests, and then grab the key to leave the level. And before we go out the door, we're just going to stop over here and grab the last gem. On this level, we're going to start off by grabbing this key on the left-hand side. And then we're going to go all the way to the bottom to grab this chest. The next thing we want to do is make sure we stay close to the left here, and then we're going to ignite this dynamite. Stand here, and we're going to grab all the gems at the top, and then we're going to go grab this key on the top right hand side. The next thing we're going to do is stand right here, so the second square down on the right hand side pillar, and we're going to dash to the left, dash back to the right. That's going to ignite both of the dynamites at the same time, which will allow us to get the purple key. As far as I've been able to find, that's the only way to get to the purple key. And we'll grab this chest real quick before we actually go grab that key. Again, make sure to not push these boulders over. It is possible to block off your way to get to the purple key. Now on this level, what we're going to do is, you can see that everything is basically split into the right side and the left side. These traps basically keep you on one side or the other. Once you've passed over, unless you're holding down the control or the command button on your keyboard, once you've passed over to one side, you're going to stay over there. So we're going to go downwards first and grab both of the items from over here, and we're not going to need to come back over to the right hand side of the map. We're going to grab all the items that are loose and easily accessible on the left hand side right now, and then dash over to light this dynamite, step back, and then go around, grab this chest key. Now in order to actually grab the purple key down here, we're going to need to come over and push the boulder onto the pad, and then on our way down to grabbing the key, we're going to stop and grab the gem. Alright, now that we have the purple key, we're going to come back up here and we're going to push the boulder off of the pad. Now that we have the last area unlocked, we're going to make our way over to the door. At the beginning of this level, you'll see that there is some action going on. It will have something pop over here to where this balloon goes to the top. First thing we're going to do is dash over to the right, step away before the dynamite goes off. And then what we're going to do is we're going to push this boulder to the left and this boulder to the left. And then we can grab the gems from underneath them. The reason we're pushing them to the left is so they don't land on these pads and block our exit at the end of the level. The next thing we can do is clear out this snow patch and then push the balloon off of the pad. And then we can come grab this key. And what we're going to do is the same thing we did with the boulders. We're going to do with these three balloons. We're going to push them over to the side. This time we're actually going to push them over to the right though, because as you can see there is a pad right here that you don't want it to land on. It's not a huge issue with the balloons as it is with the boulders. Actually, I guess it's not really a huge issue with either of them because you can just push them to a different side if they land on the pads. But once you've done that, you've grabbed all the items off of it, we can unlock the 3 chests, grab the door key, and then we're going to make our way out of the level. On this one, we're going to make a giant loop around the level, going downwards first, and then grabbing this key at the top. Alright, the next thing we're going to do here is ignite this dynamite, and make sure to take a step back away from it once it's ignited. And we're going to grab this key by going around, and then make sure to step off to the right, not up. And then we're going to come over here, make sure to grab this torch, and we're going to grab the gems while we're up here as well. And go up twice, over, and then go down here. Once we release that last balloon, it'll unlock this gate again. Oh, actually it's not unlocked again. This is our first time unlocking it. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and grab the final key to let us leave the level. And we're going to ignite this dynamite, make our way back to this gate. Once it opens, we can finish the level. What we're going to do is go grab this gem at the bottom of the map. Bottom of the game board. And then we're going to release this boulder. Step over to the right. I'm going to clear out this space right here. And then I'll drop these ones. And then drop these boulders. In that order. The next thing I do is step over here and grab this torch. What we're going to do is we're going to make a backwards J shape. We're going to ignite that dynamite and then grab the gem from up here. Once that goes off, we're going to grab this key. And then we're going to grab all the gems down here at the bottom of the map. We could do this later, but I find it easier to just go ahead and take care of it early on. And then we will take these last 2 boulders from up here and push them over from the right side to the left. And what that's going to do is it's going to open up this area and this area so we can go grab the last gem of the level and the purple key so we can actually finish the level. Once we have those, you're going to either need this torch or this torch. Either one of them works just fine. And then we're going to head back over here one last time, ignite that dynamite, and then start making our way to the exit. First thing we'll do is push this boulder over to the left. It's the only move you can make at the beginning. And we're going to grab this torch and ignite this dynamite. Make sure not to touch this boulder at all on the left-hand side. And then step upwards. And we're going to go over here and push this balloon on the right. And we're going to come grab this torch while also clearing out the space right above that balloon. Step over to the right, and that's going to basically keep things locked for us when we come and ignite the dynamite on the right hand side of the screen. Alright, once we are able to grab this torch, we're going to ignite the dynamite on the left hand side of the screen. There's a lot of going back and forth on this level. And then step down. Grab the gem on this side of the screen, and then we're going to unlock the gate one more time. The next thing we're going to do is grab this gem up here. This is the safest part of the time, the safest time to do it. And then we'll grab this torch, go downwards across here, and once we get to this spot, we're just going to dash to the right. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to push this boulder onto the next pad. Grab the purple key from up here, 2 steps to the right, and straight down. That's it for this level. We're just going to head straight to the exit. This is one of my favorite levels. It is a little particular. There is a timing thing with the right-hand side at the very end of the level, where you want to make sure that you're moving kind of quickly. That was another issue I had with the written guides. I was going step by step, 3 steps to the left, 3 steps to the right, and I wasn't reading ahead, and I wound up having issues with things that are timing based. The first thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to go ahead and put this boulder onto the pad over here on the left-hand side of it. In order to do that, we need to get under it and then to the right of it, and then push it over. Then we're going to grab this torch down here. Make sure to go around this boulder or you'll block off the path. And then we're going to ignite this dynamite and step right here afterwards. Once you've done that, go ahead and push it over. And you can grab the key and the gem. And then we're going to make our way all the way across to grab this torch. Once you have that, we're going to go up, grab this torch, and take a step to the left. And then we'll ignite this dynamite, take a step to the right. That's the final gem that you're going to need over here. And we're going to ignite this dynamite over here and make sure to step out of the way before it blows up. So I will go up to the top right corner of it. Once you have that, then you can grab this torch, and we're going to go to the right, ignite this dynamite, take a step to the left. Now, when you come over into this last hallway over here, make sure not to grab either of these torches until you have grabbed this key at the top. Once you have that, you can come by here, grab both of them, and then ignite this red dynamite. As soon as you light this red dynamite, you need to make your way upwards and to the left, because once it goes off, that balloon will come up to the top pretty quickly, as you can see. The next thing we're going to do is ignite this dynamite and then go back around. They will hold each other in place, the boulder and the balloon, and we can make our way to the exit. This is the level that you saw me at the beginning of the video. This is probably the most tricky level in the game. This is where I lose more often than anywhere else. I will explain why in just a moment. And I actually route my way around this level around the fact that there's one particular spot that is very tricky. The first thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to come over here and we're going to grab this gem between the red and the green dynamite. And then we're going to grab this torch on the left-hand side. And then grab this key up above it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the right. Once we see that green dynamite is ignited, we're going to make our way all the way down to the bottom of the map, the board, and ignite this red dynamite. And step out the way. And then we're going to grab the key over here and grab this gem above it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to ignite the red dynamite lowest in the center of the board. And I try to knock out this part first before continuing on with the rest of the board, because this is the most likely place to die on the entire board. It's pretty particular with the timing. So we're going to go stand above this gem. We're going to press down, up, right as quickly as we can. Okay, I managed to get through the gate. It's very fast. The gate often will close on you before you get across. So try to have as many lives as you can before you get to this level. I personally find this to be the most difficult level in the game. Once you've done that, we can grab the key and the chest at the bottom, and we're going to make our way all the way to this torch on the top right hand side of the board and stop and grab all the gems that we see along the way. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come back to this red dynamite so we can grab the last chest key. While we're waiting for it to blow up, we're going to unlock this chest that we unlocked earlier, and then come back here to grab this key. Then we're going to come down to the bottom of the board to grab this torch. And we're going to go past this dynamite and grab this chest while we're waiting for the dynamite to blow up. The next thing we're going to do is grab the purple key at the bottom. Make sure not to grab this torch. And then we're going to head our way to the right-hand side of the map and leave the level. Simple as that. The last two objects we have to pass on our way there. This is one of my favorite levels in the game. I've played it many different ways. I would say this is probably the one level I would recommend exploring, trying to find your own way to do it. I will go ahead and include in this guide how I do it, but there are a lot of different combinations. I think it's just fun to see what different ways you can do it. We're going to grab this key and then this chest that are right next to us, and then we're going to grab everything that we encounter on our way over to this gem on the right hand side at the top. Make sure not to grab that torch. The route that I take prevents you from grabbing that torch, which is helpful later. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab this cluster of keys and chests, and then this gem and key. Then we're going to go over here, grab this key that is next to the torch and anything else that we encounter along the way. Make sure to leave that boulder floating. And then we're going to come down here. We're going to grab this gem, this key, circle around underneath these before dropping the boulders. Once you have the items, you go up here, 2 steps to the right. And then we have to grab this chest in order to release the balloon so we can grab the rest of the items on the board. It's pretty straightforward from here. You just run around and grab all the items. Nothing here is really going to harm you. Make sure to go up here and then grab this gem and don't disturb the snow patch above it. Alright. The key to this level is just make sure before you go out the door to give a quick scan visually to make sure that you have grabbed all the items. This is another one that's a little easy to mess up. We're going to do this a very specific way. We're going to go through here. Don't grab the torch on the left hand side yet. We're going to grab the one in the middle, and then we're going to step out of here, ignite the one below us, and then take a couple steps up. This is one of the few times in the game I do not use the dash, even though it looks like it would be easier. It's easy to overshoot this torch and to run past the key. You have to be able to grab the torch, grab the key, and then get into this little hobble hole right here where you won't blow up. I find that if you're dashing, it's very easy to overshoot your target and then have to go back, and then you might not be able to grab the key in time. The next thing we're going to do is go grab this purple key at the very bottom of the map. And then we're going to grab the last torch. And we're going to ignite that dynamite. As soon as that's free, we can head out the level. And now we're at the final level of the game. Fyora's quest works a little differently than anywhere else. Whenever you step, it will create a solid block behind wherever you were just standing. The key to this level is make sure you're staying as far to the left-hand side as possible at all times. In order to finish the level, what we're going to do first is grab this key down here at the bottom. Again, stay as far to the left as possible at all times. Alright, the next goal is going to be to push this boulder onto this pad, which is going to require us to be standing here. Again, we're going to try to stay as far left as possible. I'll take 2 steps here. I'm actually going to hold down the control button because I have to be a little fast to get through this otherwise. And then grab that torch. Alright, once we're standing here, we can push the boulder down. And then we're going to circle around here to stand to the left-hand side of this green dynamite. Once you stand next to it, make sure to go to the left. And then we're going to go up here. And this is one of the few times in the entire board that we're going to break the stay to the left rule. We're going to go as far to the top right corner as possible to grab this torch. And then we're going to make our way over to this green dynamite, and we're going to grab this key, these gems, and this chest along the way. Once you ignite that, step over towards this gate. And then again, once we get over here, we're going to follow this stay to the left rule. Try to grab this key, this chest, and this gem. And that's it. That is Fyora's quest. Once you hit submit score or send score, within 24 hours, you should have a gold trophy on your user profile. So congratulations on getting through Fyora's quest. Have a good day, and next week I will be uploading a video on how to get a gold trophy on Ruins Rampage. Thank you very much.